Hi guys, welcome to this video. We're going to talk about how to get started with Apizr, which is a library built on top of Refit, offering all the Refit features, obviously, plus many more. Like I said, Apizr is built on top of Refit, so please, if you're new to Refit, please head to the documentation of Refit and take a look at how to deal with it, how to play with it. As you can see on the documentation, we can design an interface and endpoints methods, and then get an instance of it, and then finally actually get your data. It's quite the same thing on Apizr, but Apizr brings a lot of new features around Refit, like retry handling, connectivity checking, cache, auth, log, priority management, and so on. So please read the documentation and learn about it. But for now, we're going to focus on the how section of the Apizr.NET documentation, which illustrates how to get started with a simple API. Okay, so, well, for the example, we're going to use an API called retries. It's a public server offering many endpoints, and the one with which we will play will be, well, the first one, list users, which obviously bring back some users. So let's code. About coding, I'm going to use Maui application. It's quite empty, actually. It's just a Maui application with the community toolkit installed and just a view, a main page, and a main page view model, and that's all. There's nothing in it, nothing more than maybe a label. Whoa. Yeah, the title bound to the label, that's all. So from here, we're going to install APIs a byte. So, well, as I'm into a Maui application with a container and iService collection available, I'm going to install the Apizr NuGet extended version. So let's try to find it. Yep, this one. Well, as you can see, there's many more packages, but it's only a get started video, so just stay focused on this one. I'm gonna install it. That's right. And then we could probably think about starting actually the model design and our API design. So I will create a class, and from here, I'm gonna call it public interface iRequest API. Sounds good. And iRequest API should return probably a list of users, and we're gonna call it like maybe get users, I think, probably. And there's another endpoint to return a user. Yeah, why not that? Yeah, a user. So here we have to create, obviously, our user class, user model. And our user model will implement some properties with an ID, an email, first name, last name, after. So from here, we should be good to go out. But as we can see on the definition of the endpoint, it's not a user which is returned back from the API directly. There's a root object on it. It's a paging object, but we doesn't care about that for now. It doesn't matter. We're just going to create a wrapping class to get data, actually. And as we can see, data could be a list of users or a single one. So I want to make things a bit more generic, just to tell actually what kind of results the API should return. So let's go back to the code and let's create a wrapping class, like something like public class API result with a generic T data with a t data or result or something. T data. So I think here I should be returning an API result, yep, of user list, and there an API result of user, and there we should be good to go to attribute design like we would do usually with Refit. So the first thing I would do would be to set the HTTP methods over each method. So here is a get, all right, and here is another get. All right, here I'm good to go. I'm quite the same configuration like I would do with Refit only, but here we are with Apizr. So if we want to use all the Apizr goodness, we should maybe provide a base address. Base address. That's my base address. Maybe I should provide some JSON property name. Well, that one obviously is data. Okay, now, like I said, Apizr offers you to provide some kind of configuration at different steps. At design time, like I'm doing right now, at register time, like I will do just after that, and at request time. To do that and to get the possibility to provide any configuration at any time, we'll add an option parameter, which would be request option, and I do it also to that one. So what's next? Next, we'll have to register our Apizr manager to the service collection. To do that, I will go to the Maui program and let's do a builder.services.add Apizr manager for Apizr manager for what? For iRegress API. Yep, that's all. Now this thing I have to do is to update my ViewModel so that I could inject private read-only Apizr manager of what? Of iRegress API. Yep. Regress. Well, let's say manager. Okay. Bit of clean. Okay. Well, we designed everything here. Then we registered a manager for our API into our service collection, into our container. Then we injected the managed instance of Regress API to do something, actually to request, send requests. So I will create an IBusy Boolean to start. Maybe as we're gonna implement some kind of pull to refresh and is refreshing flag collection, so property call users, and then we would like to start a command which sends a request and get the data back. So, well, private task get users async maybe load users. So we're gonna load it on appearing. So the first thing I should do into the load users would be maybe if is busy, just return. Then try catching everything into the try catch, into the try section. I'm gonna set my isBusy to true. Then set my isRefreshing to, yep. Maybe clear users. If we pull to refresh, we want it to be cleared before everything to be loaded into it. So users.clear, and we're good. After that, let's actually send the request. So to send our request, await request manager dot execute option and API dot get users, which ask for options. So we provide it. And here I should get my API result of list of user. All right. Then when I get my result, maybe for each result dot data, yeah, user, yeah, maybe users dot add user. Yeah, we should get our data. So just head to the view, refresh view. All right, a refresh view that bring a command bound to load. Oops, I think I forgot something. Yeah, relay command. Relay command. Save it. And then voila. All right, bind our is refreshing to the is refreshing. All right, and that's it for now. Set content view into the refresh view. Into it, I'm gonna put a collection view. All right, our collection view would have an empty view. Let's say no data. What else? Yeah, of course, item source bound up binding to our users, obviously. Set some collection view item layout. All right. Item layout. All right. And finally, our template, I mean the the item template. All right. So we got a pretty simple dummy view with a refresh view, a collection view. The refresh view will refresh, which actually will call the command called load users command on the ViewModel side, and the load users command will actually send the request and get the data back from server and add it to the collection. Well, let's give it a chance. Okay, so run. Well, as you can see, there's an isBusy to set to true, is refreshing to true, but finally nothing. So I will stop it to fix it. Okay, so let's see that. Yeah, I have no data because nobody called our load data to actually get our data. Well, let's fix the unappearing thing. just provide an even to comment or something, behavior. Okay, there we go. Pairing, load users command. I should introduce maybe some kind of unpairing, private unpairing. We wanted to set that it is refreshing to true, so that it will be triggered on the UI side. I have to decorate. Oops, relay command. And then you should just run. All right. From now, I could introduce some more features provided by Apizr. The first one would be maybe some logging things. Back to the code. And let's add some logs to our API. I just have to head to my request API and tell that I want to log maybe not everything, but all batch request body. Okay, log it all, but accepted the request body. It's just for example. So here, with just an attribute decoration, we are telling Apizr to log everything into the HTTP message, everything but the request body. Well, I should set the minimum level to trace. Let's see if we get some outputs. Oh yeah, I've just seen it. Okay, let's stop it and look at it. Here is the starting point. We can see that Apizr just trace that we are actually calling the method. Then the connectivity check succeed, which is a fake one here. Then executing the request, there everything around the Refit HTTP client, yeah. And then the trace, I mean the HTTP trace. And then we should see the request response, yeah, there. And the request response body there. And after that, returning result. Okay. So as you can see, you can log it all. Just decorating your API interface and telling what you want. I do want all batch request body, but if you don't provide anything and just decorate with just log, it will log it all, the request body and the response one. That said, let's now do data caching. Let's add an external package. We want to cache data with Akavache. Yeah, why not? And to do that, I just have to install the package of my choice. Here is Akavache cache provider, and then tell Apizr to cache with Akavache. So to do that, add Apizr manager 4. We can do it with options builder, options dot with Akavache cache and loop, and that's it. I just tell Apizr to manage to handle cache relying on Akavache caching system. The other thing I have to do is to actually tell Apizr what to cache. So let's jump on our API design interface and let's cache fetch or get. Fetch or get is the case where it returns fresh data if requests succeed. Otherwise, we return the cache one if we get some. And the get or fetch, I mean the other one, will do the exact opposite. getting data from the cache in priority, and if we don't have any, fetch the data from the web. And a cache of, let's say, 5 seconds, we should handle request fault with a thing called poly. We could do that different ways. I will do it the simplest way. Yep, client builder dot, and there we should add some standard resilience handler provided by Microsoft Resilience packages. All right, let's do that. So here I'm about to install Microsoft extension HTTP Resilience package, which bring some kind of pre-configured pipelines relying on poly. So now I should be good to add standard resilience handler. So now I think we just have to catch. We don't catch anything here. Catch exception, Apizr exception of type API result of list of user. All right, Apizr is wrapping all the exception into Apizr exception with tipped data so that we could use it to provide some data to the view, and such data come from the cache. So here we go. I should check if x dot cache result maybe contain something. Actually, do we have some cache user? And if we do have some cache user, for each, if we do have some user into the cache, just add it to our collection, add user, right? And maybe to know that user come from cache, we should toast something. So await to make all the data loaded from cache. And if there's no data, maybe we should handle it. Let's say toast.make no cache data. All right, maybe we should also say it when it comes from fresh API server results. So here, data loaded from API. Let's try it. Just pull to refresh, get fresh data loading from API, then airplane mode, airplane, pull, data loaded from cache. Okay, because we just got an exception because of the network failure. And then we should be good to pull and get no data at all with some retry on poly. That's it. So as you can see, we just demonstrate how to get a client configured with some logging, some data caching, everything in place just by design with attributes, and some registration steps like which cache handler I would like to use. There is Akavache, but we could use anything else, and some resilience handler registration, and that's it. Our ViewModel is quite simple too. Try catching things, catching the Apizr exception, and playing with it. So that's it for now. I will probably publish some more videos, a deep dive on each features on Apizr, something like a walkthrough from the start to the end of all the features provided by Apizr. So stay tuned.